So today, on April the, whatever today is, 6th, 2019, we started the first real day of demo. A couple guys I used to work with and my dad. And we got a little bit of stuff done today, as you can see. This is one room. This is the hallway on one side. Got the bedroom. Got a little bit of stuff done in it. See back through the closet and see it through the other room there. And then we got this right here is the fireplace. It's solid. So we got to figure out how we're going to probably just take the brick off from the top down. And then this is the room in the front. As you can see, there's a window up there on the front of the house. This ceiling was crazy, and it's so much of it rotted. But that's about all the further we got with the ceiling. But this room is pretty well, as you can see, we did pretty well in this room. This is where we started. And there's just a mountain of debris now that we're gonna go off the balcony in the back and just throw it and create a big mountain of crap, and then we will get us a dumpster and a bobcat and we'll go from there. So like all things that start off as small seeds, you hope that they grow and prosper. So these are just a bunch of the videos that we shot, as well as some pictures that we've stitched together to try to get everyone kind of caught up to where we are 5 years down the road. Hey there, and welcome back to our 1875 lady in waiting. We call her Gloria. She is Italianate in design. It's not what she looks like these days. I've had a pretty good week this week. I'm gonna try to flip the camera around here. All right, today is April the 24th, 2021. I say that and I can't believe it. It's been 5 years since we bought this, almost to the day. We bought it on, oops, sorry, I was a little fast. We bought it on April the 17th, 2016. Never anticipated it would take 5 years to get to just this stage. I really had about a 5-year plan to have us living in it, and it didn't happen. So, but today we're back in it today, working again, and we got this what was a bathroom, a crappy little bathroom, gutted out today. You can see my mountain of lath. This makes the upstairs on this half completely gutted at this point in time. I got the stairway started, but I haven't gotten real far. I started taking it apart, but I haven't pulled all the plaster down. 5 years, been crazy. The last 20 months especially has been crazy. So, anyway. 5 years. Why I didn't take an update video before, I don't know. Maybe it's because I just didn't have the storage space on my phone. But at the 5-year point, we've got a long way to go. Every time you uncover a space, you realize again how much somebody has butchered this house to no end. The original frame of the house right here on this side comes up, runs across to that post over there that's buried in the wall. That's not the side of the house anymore. That's the side of the house. They just bumped this house out every time they turned around in one direction or another. And every time they did, they just scab pieces in. Those planks that are on that portion of the wall, this center section here, we believe is part of the original house. And in the late 1870s, we think that this was just basically the finish for the upstairs. That somebody came along later and plastered it. But these big 1 inch, these are 1 inch thick, and some of them are up to 16 inches wide boards. We can't take them off right now because that in numerous places where these are at, if we go down especially if we go like down the stairway and across this front portion of the house up here, you'll see where they just cut the studs to basically put walls wherever they wanted and never came back and braced the wall. It has all these big 1-bys on it. The last stud that goes down to the floor is about 4 feet over, something like that. Yeah, see, you can see it here. That's the last stud that goes to the floor. The rest of that wall has just been cut out. There's no header, there's no anything, so I'm not taking those down until such time that I have some support underneath it. That stairway is going away eventually, so it's all right. This is a bearing wall. Like I said, this is part of the original house to right here to this beam, this big fat 4x6 beam right here that runs all the way to the basement. This was the original edge of the house, and then this bay was part of that, but the rest of this going forward didn't exist. I mean, you can see somewhat where the original roof structure was. Now, they didn't change the roof. They just scabbed onto the roof. So the actual roof doesn't even get to the edge now, and just there's a big bowl, which is why we have all the barrels here, because there's just a big bowl here and everything just, I mean, it's all rotten. So, long way to go. We hopefully have turned the corner and we'll start making some progress now. So to say that the last 5 years have been a waste, that nothing really got done, that would be a lie. When we acquired this property, I mean, it was extremely overgrown. Trees, bushes, weeds. I mean, think about it. 20 years of no one living here. It was a bit crazy. I bet some of this stuff at some point in time was actually kind of pretty. I mean, we had landscape beds like this. I mean, there were a lot of these with the stones encircling them and things, but now it was just severely overgrown. So we started tackling that project little by little. This here was like my first attempt to clean it up so you could get to the garage. Of course, we also had a lot of dead trees, 19 dead ash trees in total. We hired the big guns with the big equipment. In fact, this chipper had to be the largest chipper I think I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing, but they did a good job. We got rid of those kind of things. Some of the things that, we left in its wake were just, crazy stuff. This little bush here, we're going to cover it again in the real near future, but here's our mountain of mulch they left us after chipping up all the debris. They also left us some other things to deal with, like our neighbor's broken fence and another portion of his fence that got broke. We just repaired it, replaced it, rebuilt it, whatever it took. We figured we were causing enough chaos in their lives. We didn't want them mad about anything else. We also, during this time, 150 years is a long time, so we wanted to make sure we knew where the property corners were, not just guessed where they were. This one wasn't even close to where we thought it was, or where the neighbor thought it was. This little garage, that's my lovely wife, by the way. The pictures do it much more justice than it really deserves. The whole back end of this thing was caving in, and in fact, we couldn't get in but one side of it. The only other way in, through that wall right there. So, more demo along the way. I can tell you, I had a lot of fun on this thing. It was so much easier than with a sledgehammer. The frame came apart fairly easily, but the slab, different story entirely. See what I mean? This slab in places was 23 inches thick. This is trying to show you that there was another slab underneath that slab. Crazy, crazy stuff. But, what could we do? Here's you a good comparison. My foot to how thick that slab really was. Oh, and we also uncovered the cistern. We didn't know it was there. So in this video, we've made it to about the 1st of May. Like I said, we're just trying to piece together some of these things that were just oddball videos. Most of them I shot on my phone. I was just now really beginning to think about doing a true documentary, put it on YouTube and all this kind of stuff. So I just kind of started shooting these videos to give basically some friends and family updates on what I was doing. But I'd worked through this hallway. I've been working on the other side of the house for so long that once we finally got it to the point where we could move to the other side of the hall and start tearing out things from there, it felt fabulous. We had been able to come over a couple of times in a row, for a couple weekends in a row and work, really pretty hard. We had gotten into this bedroom. I'd done the prep work. I'd gotten all the woodwork off, got all the doors off, that kind of stuff, and then started gutting out this room. And I had some friends ask, well, where are you putting all this stuff when you say you're gutting it? Well, where are you putting it? Well, I'm literally loading up 5-gallon buckets, and I carry them through the house and I dump them. And this video was just to kind of show them how I was doing that. And people just didn't believe me when I said, I'm throwing them off the porch. But I load the buckets up, grab them, carry them down the hallway here to this back little bedroom to where the back porches are. Like I said, this house mirrors itself from side to side, so I carry the buckets through here, and I've made this trip, I don't know, hundreds of times now, but I would carry them, stack the buckets up, and then go out here and dump all the buckets at once. Just carry them over to the rail, and there you go. This is a couple of months ago now even, so that mountain has gotten even taller. But, a good view of our backyard, as you can see the remnants of the little garage that still remains, the slab that's there. Our yard's still a bit overgrown, but we're working on that as the summer progresses. But we'll keep you up to date on where we're at, and we'll keep stitching these together here. As you can see, all this was on one side, and now we have the other side. We've taken out some walls right through there. We've emptied a lot of plaster this week. I don't know, I lost count somewhere, but it was somewhere between like 160 and 180 buckets of plaster this week. It rained for the biggest chunk of this week, so a job that I was supposed to go start building on some people's house, which was all outside, we didn't do. So instead we just came over here and worked. But I've got the middle bedroom about half gutted here. One thing I did want to show, for some reason this meant a lot to me, and I don't know why. It was really pretty stupid, but in the original design, I know it had a wraparound porch, and there should have been a window right here on the second floor overlooking the porch. And when I tore out the plaster in the closet on the other side, you could barely tell the remnants of it at all. So then when I came in here and I kind of tore all the plaster out, you could easily see where all the lath lined up and where the header should have been. And for some reason, like I said, I don't know why, that it just meant something that I should have seen that. Should have been able to just like tear the plaster off and there'd be the old window in there. And I guess part of it is just because that so much of this house has just been ripped apart and bastardized. And like, this is the original outside of the house right here. This matches my big 1-bys that are over there in the back side of the house. But this would have been this side of the house. Now this is really where I come into the first differences that I have been able to tell in this house. There is a basically a homemade on-site truss built up in here. I don't know if I can get a good angle to where I can show it to you. Not really. But there's a truss that they built on site in here. And it runs from this front wall, and it runs right up through here, and it runs over here. Well, there's one on the matching side, but the one on the matching side comes all the way back to this part of the bearing wall. This one, however, ends on the side wall here, which would have been, you know, the original outside edge of the house. A little different, so that was the first big difference I've run into. So for now, I'm leaving this wall here. It's, you know, it's acting as a bearing for that truss. And especially when I get up in here, and you can look up in here, and I don't know that the camera will pick it up, but the hip rafter there is pretty much rotted away and gone. This one, like I said, this was the original outside of the house, and this would have been the 4x6 beam that was the outside corner of the house that matches the one on the other side over there. And this one's got a bit of dry rot in it, and a bit of just flat out rot, as you can see. A lot of rot up in the plaster and the wallpaper and everything else that was up in there. So that's been leaking. We haven't noticed it getting wet in here, but obviously it leaked for quite some time. I know there's a lot of people that are going to get aggravated at me for tearing out all the plaster, but every time you turn around in this house, you see where people just didn't do things the right way again and again and again. If you look right up there, you'll notice that, you know, there's another rafter that's just cut off, gone. One next to it's cracked and broke. You know, a situation like this wall right here that we're gonna have to figure out some way to, well, once the whole roof comes off, it probably won't matter. That I'll take that truss out and we'll reframe the whole thing. But you know, if I wasn't going to tear this roof off, I'd have to tear off a big chunk of this roof just to replace that hip right there anyway, because the hip's literally rotted away. I mean, the camera doesn't pick it up real well, but I went up there and it's pretty spongy. I climbed up there on my ladder and felled it, and it's pretty spongy. So anyway, we got some more done. It is Saturday, May the 8th. Tomorrow's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to my wife. It'll be Mother's Day number 5 since my mom passed away. So it still takes a little getting used to, but it is as it is. So good week all in all, considering the bad weather. You know, I just used it as an opportunity to work over here, and we'll keep moving forward. So till next time, see ya.